Welcome back to the library. Today we continue the video book report of Brave New World by Aldous Huxley. Today I'll be discussing Chapter 2. So, the teenage boys are still touring the nightmarish human lab rat building. In this society, every class of person, also known as a caste, is conditioned in some way according to what caste they belong in. This means they behave according to how they were assigned, and they're also assigned certain colors of clothing based on their caste. The Delta caste is shown first on the tour. They're still infants at crawling age. There's a worker, and the worker puts books and flowers on the floor and then lets the infants crawl towards the objects to play with them. Then the infants are pulled back from the objects. The process is repeated, except this time, once the infants reach the books, the worker turns on a soundboard where there are explosion sounds and sirens and loud noises that scare the infants. After this, as if that wasn't traumatic enough, the infants are sent towards the flowers. Once they reach the flowers, they are electrocuted. This society is electrocuting infants to condition them to not like flowers. Why do they do this, you ask? A love of nature keeps no factories busy. They do this all because the regime in the book decided it was unproductive for a person to grow up appreciating the nature around them. This made me think of how some people these days are so quick to hate everything around them voluntarily, and it speaks to the lack of gratitude for one's surroundings. It seems today people are more concerned with trying to find dirt on someone so they can cancel them and shame them publicly, or concerned with how someone said something or how someone looked at them wrong at the grocery store rather than enjoying the shopping trip or just enjoying being alive in the world. It's sad. Another good thing about reading this book, depressing as it is that it makes me appreciate what I have. Like I said in the first chapter, I'm grateful that I have the ability to think for myself. This chapter made me be grateful that I wasn't grown in a human science lab and conditioned to hate everything. Although one could argue that the powers that be today are currently trying to turn everyone into science experiments and conditioning us to hate everything. The difference is we have the choice not to go along with it. So I'm going to choose not to go along with it. The beta caste in this society is shown next, and a loudspeaker comes on while several kindergarten/first grade-ish age children are taking a nap in a classroom. The loudspeaker plays a mantra that's repeated over and over for the entire nap time. So what they're doing is they're having the kids take a nap and then they're playing a loudspeaker that repeats the speech over and over again so that the kids will subconsciously pick up the words through osmosis or something. And in the book it says that there was a kid that they discovered that this happened with where he was asleep and there was a radio playing or something, and he woke up the next day and he said stuff that he'd heard on the radio. The tyrants in this regime decided, that'd be a great way to condition mass loads of people. So that's what that is from. And then the mantra says, alpha children wear gray. They work much harder than we do because they're so frightfully clever. I'm really awfully glad I'm a beta because I don't work so hard. And then, we are much better than the gammas and the deltas. Gammas are stupid. They all wear green and Delta children wear khaki. Oh no, I don't want to play with Delta children. And Epsilons are still worse. That's kind of how I imagine the speech going. It's not neutral. It's designed to make the kids have this insidious belief system. And so I feel like it would have been said you're better than this. You're better than this. In this really snarky voice. So they're conditioning entitledness into the children, but only to a certain level because this is the beta caste. So they're conditioned with entitlement towards the lower castes and conditioned with admiration towards the alpha caste. This sounds an awful lot like what critical race theory does. It divides everyone into a specific group that other people have told them they belong in. Then, each group is conditioned to think within their group things about themselves as well as things about the other groups. If you still think critical race theory is only about helping underserved communities or seeing history through a different perspective, you're choosing to ignore the blatant racist ideas it is implanting within people's minds. Critical race theory would be fine if it really was about helping certain groups of people or simply teaching about the lesser known stories in history. But the problem I have with it is that it also condemns certain other groups of people, and that's unacceptable to me. I don't think anyone should be condemned because of association. We're all individual people, and we don't deserve to be either dragged down or lifted up just because of some implanted ideas that some people think are true. Till at last, the child's mind is these suggestions, and the sum of the suggestions is the child's mind. And not the child's mind only, the adult's mind too, all his life long. The mind that judges and desires and decides, made up of these suggestions. But all these suggestions are our suggestions, suggestions from the state. The regime is literally proud of programming the minds of people starting from childhood. This makes me think of those god-awful virtue signaling signs in a hardcore leftist front lawn. Science is real, love is love, and many more annoying phrases like that which are empty platitudes. Yet the leftist swears by these slogans as if they're Bible verses. If you dare criticize anything on the sign, the leftist accuses you of being a white supremacist. Suggestions of the state, Aldous Huxley says. Catchy little phrases repeated to you over and over and over again until you think it's normal. It's not normal. It's brainwashing. When it's become obvious that the government is brainwashing you, you need to ignore the nonsense. Don't believe nonsense. Don't extrapolate nonsense. They're ideas insidiously planted inside you to control you. That sums up my thoughts on Chapter 2. I'll be back with my thoughts on the next chapter on a later video. In the meantime, don't believe anyone who tells you that you are good or bad based on a group identity.